Mr. Ife Oyedele is live for us in our Lagos studio. It's good to see you today, Mr. Oyedele. And I know that as we're talking about the late former president, a lot of memories will be coming to mind. What would you say is perhaps your fondest memory of the late former president?
Thank you very much, Seun. I think one of the fondest memories of President Muhammadu Buhari was his extreme humility. It's very uncommon. He was uncommonly very, 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 very humble. And I can say that with all sense of, humility. I remember that President Buhari will never, never sit down to greet somebody as unimportant as me. Anytime I met with him, whether in his house or in the hotel or even in his official capacity, when I stretch my hand to him to greet him, he will get up to greet me. And that's very notable. Many, many lesser men will sit down and just stretch out their hands to you. Another aspect of him is his frankness and his sense of humor. He was extremely very humorous. And I just heard you talk about this comment he made when he said about the other room, And I know that what he was trying to say in his usual humorous self was to say, look, my wife doesn't have anything to do with the administration of the country. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't understand what he was trying to say. And that was also, many a times his strength was also his weakness.
Indeed. Well, I do not know what it was like, as you were in the CPC with him. I do not know, how the merger to the APC affected your relationship with him, if it had any effect whatsoever. But how did you view his time in office and some of the comments the Nigerians have had so far since his passing?
Maukwe, the truth of the matter is that in everything in Nigeria, every Nigerian is an expert on everything. And you have had various comments about President Muhammadu Buhari. I listened to your program this morning, talking about Bismarck, and I had Bismarck Rewani talking about the person of President Muhammadu Buhari. And what came across to me that this was a man who was passionate about ensuring that the poor people in this country do not suffer. The merger of CPC with APC, with other political parties to form APC, didn't have any effect on our relationship. Remember that I was a member of the APC merger committee, where I had the opportunity to design the logo of the APC. I remember also that initially President Muhammadu Buhari wanted me to be the Director General of the campaign organization, but he asked me to go and be the coordinator, the state coordinator of the APC in Ondo State, where I come from. And so there was no gap between him as president and myself. And I think, as everybody has been saying, he tried his best, to ensure that the country moved on from where he met it. Incidentally, one of the things that was very germane to him was to shed the toga of a military dictator and become a true democrat. And that was also his albatross, because many times when we expected him to take certain stands, you know, he preferred to follow the rule of law. And many times, you know, I mean, look, if I were the president at the time, I would have removed the then governor of the CBN without any doubt, you know. I mean, without blinking an eye. But President Muhammadu Buhari would have preferred, and he did prefer, to follow the Constitution to ensure that the man served out his term.
Well, it's interesting you talk about that transition from the military dictator to a democratic president, which was viewed with mixed feelings, especially while he was president. I still remember that tiff that happened between, the president's spokespeople and Punch newspapers, more specifically, which had written a scathing editorial at the time about his transition and why they will continue to refer to him as General Muhammadu Buhari instead of President Muhammadu Buhari, as his media team had desired. There were also complaints about shrinking civic spaces. So on that front, it would seem that much as he tried, he didn't quite seem to be so, the jury is still out as to how far he was able to really shed that. Would you say that that was as a result of, how people interpreted what he was trying to achieve, or it was, his own failing as to not being so assertive in saying what he really wanted?
No, I honestly think that nomenclature of general is a title that he earned. And you remember in the United States of America, there was General Eisenhower. And for me, it is an honor to reach the peak of your professional career. You know, so there was really, we fondly called him General. I think it was one of those retired army officers that people call him fondly General. But his communication crew had a duty to also try and put into the air the kind of image they want to project about their president, you know, their principal. And I'm sure that they would have communicated this to the media at the time, you know. And I think it was, the attempt by some people to continue to call him General Buhari was an attempt to make people think that he still was a dictator. And of course, that brought a clash. That hasn't got anything to do with the president. I mean, the president will not sit down to call the chief press secretary or his media people to say, oh, why are people still calling me general? He didn't mind to be called general at all. It was a title that he earned. He worked for it. He fought in the Civil War, and and you have heard about from all of his colleagues, even the man who replaced him as head of state. You have heard how he described about General Muhammadu Buhari, President Muhammadu Buhari, his integrity, his dedication to honesty, to working very hard, the way he took on his assignments. And I have not heard anybody talk about his failure as a military officer.
All right.